Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. We have another call-in show today for all of your thoughts, to get your thoughts in, and also there's just been some news coming out, some more leaks coming out in the dressing room that there is a toxic atmosphere within the Manchester United dressing room. Well, it probably is, yeah, because we keep losing games, but still the leaks coming out just isn't good for anybody. And again, it just feels like excuses. So we want to hear your opinions on this. We're going to be talking all about the Brentford game, who you would start, who you would drop. As you can see from the titles, there's so many questions throughout this fan base, and we want all your opinions. So make sure you join me and Adam to get yourself going. Adam, welcome back to the call-in show. You excited? Obviously, we've not seen you since your match vlog after the Galatasaray game. So how are you feeling?
I've been in hiding.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am at the pits. I'm at the depths of despair with this football team at the moment and this club. I can't find the positive. I'd like to know who that leak was for the changing room. Lazy journalism. I mean, what changing room when you're this crap?
I mean,
he's got anything decent going on about it.
I could sit here and write, God, the dressing room is toxic, and you know, it's just like, obvious at this point.
There's your knife. Let's just dig it in a little bit deeper and twist it while we're at it as well, just to put us all in our shocking mood at the moment. I've still not recovered from weekend. I've got loads to say, but I'm really intrigued to speak to more people as well, because I feel like I need to be amongst suffering United fans right now. I think this is the best show to actually to get the therapy for that. So let's get going. Exactly,
and I think the first caller we've got is Matt.
Yes.
Matt coming in to speak to us. He says a lot of first-team players are out of position and they need to play their correct position. That is an excuse that we've heard quite a lot. You've said it, you know, square pegs in round holes, round holes in square pegs, whatever you want to call it.
Matt is right, Matt is right.
Matt is right, but at the same time, I still don't think there's an excuse for the certain types of performances we're getting. Like, you see Newcastle last night. It's literally night and day compared to us. Night and day. And look at the players that are scoring for him. You know, Dan Burn, Almiron, Longstaff, Fabian Schär. You'd never in a million... No one here would say, I'll take them at United. But they're ripping PSG apart in the Champions League, and because they're playing as a team. But let's get the caller in. Matt, welcome to the call-in show. Are you with us?
Hey, Matt.
Is Matt there?
Good afternoon.
There
you two.
Yes, Matt, I can hear you now.
Good, mate. Thank you.
Nice to speak to you. So, Matt, you're saying a lot of first-team players are playing out of position. Can you just kind of tell us what's going wrong then? What should Erik ten Hag change? Where should these players play? What are your thoughts on it?
So, I mean, look, if you look back on Tuesday night, you had Amrabat playing left back. He's definitely not that. He's a CDM, isn't he? So, you know, I understand that we've got injuries, so we're missing a lot of first team players like Luke Shaw, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Martinez, Manu. I know Manu's quite new to the list, but people are excited because he's got fresh legs. But if you look back the last couple of games we've been very empty in that centre mid position, and this is where a lot of the teams are just pushing in on. It's not so much the wings, because we can cover those quite comfortably. Dallow's got the left. I mean, you know, he was taking some really risky chances on, you know, especially with that yellow that he got when he took the Galatasaray player out. And, you know, it was unnecessary. It didn't need to make the tackle. They weren't a threat in any way, shape, or form. And then pushing back to centre mid as well. But if you look at where Amrabat was, where he was supposed to be playing, he was every single time out of position.
Do you know what's worrying as well? Do you know what's worrying as well is I've had this conversation with a few people. A lot of people could see it with Amrabat weeks before it happened. Do you know what I mean? And we're not blaming Amrabat, because Amrabat's a good player that should be playing in midfield. He shouldn't be playing as a fullback. And I know there's limited options. You know, Reguilon's out, and we get that. But considering how weak our midfield is, you have to find a way to get him in the midfield. You could see against Burnley, he wasn't comfortable straight off the bat.
There's ways around it.
Yeah, it's worrying that it's taken Ten Hag this long to kind of, you know, see this, but also I think he's stubborn enough that he will stick with it. It's like Bruno on the right. It doesn't work, but he keeps going with it. Is that something else you would change?
Yeah, do you know what? Fernandes is definitely a bit more of a centre-forward player. I definitely wouldn't have him out on the right wing. Rashford needs to stay on the left wing, but he needs... The issue that I think we're also having is we're not resting enough players. You know, they're playing a lot of games, and then you can see that lagginess in their legs. when they're, Rashford, I mean, don't get me wrong, he played amazing. It was just a shame that I feel bad for the guy because he gets ridiculed if he doesn't shoot on goal, or shoots on goal. He gets ridiculed if he doesn't pass.
Do you not think that's just his decision making though, being poor?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, that one-on-one with the goalie, he could have just flipped that over.
I'm not. You know what that is? That is to me, Matt, in terms of Rashford and what happened there. And I said this. I said I've always backed Rashford, but he bottled that for me. You're our leading goal scorer, our main man. You've got to take responsibility and put the ball in the back of the net. I didn't have any sympathy for him at all.
For me, it looks like he's been listening to what everyone's been saying about him not passing it enough. But you've got to have it at that level, the ability to know when to pass and know when to shoot. Everyone gets it wrong at times, but he gets it wrong so often. Yeah. But Matt, thank you for calling in so much. We really do appreciate it.
No, that's right. And just to let you know, guys, it's slow sports news.
Slow sports news. Oh, is it?
Yeah, you
go. Slow sports news.
Yeah. All right, guys, you take it easy.
Thanks for calling in.
Cheers, mate.
Absolute legend on the United Stand, Slow Sports News. We love it. Thank you for calling in. This is the good thing about the calling shows.
It is a question, though, for anyone actually watching, comments and everything like that. You're talking about all these crazy injuries. Martinez, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka.
People laughed at me yesterday when I said Shaw's a huge miss.
What are we talking about then? Can we not handle 3 defenders missing? Can we not handle that at the back?
Quite a lot, though.
We've got, 3? We've got a squad. We shouldn't be conceding the goals we're conceding. What's happening with the midfield?
Well,
we've got everyone. Well. Doesn't matter. We've still got enough. Let's not forget. The midfield's been dissected just as much as the defence.
Let's be honest as well. If Ten Hag would have actually got,
excuse.
If Ten Hag actually would have got a centre back in the summer that he wanted, then it would be stronger. He doesn't want Maguire, therefore he doesn't play.
This is where you have to sort of look at Ten Hag's angle on this as well, because it's like you've got Maguire sat on the bench there. Lindelof, a defender, can play at left back. Maguire could have slotted in. Johnny Evans is that you got 2 centre backs sat on the bench, full international centre backs sat on the bench. Yeah, I know they're not ideal, but they know the role. Amrabat doesn't. This is where there's no excuse for Ten Hag on this side of things, and everyone knows. I know Ten Hag is the right man for me, but there's no excuse. I'd love to see get everyone's opinions on that in terms of everything that is Ten Hag's decision making as well at the moment. That's a topic I feel needs bringing up as well, because that favouritism thing's sneaking in a little bit still.
There is definitely some questionable decisions. Rashford actually has started getting subbed, but still we'll have to see. Arif Chowdhury says Bruno has not been a captain since he's been captain.
He has.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have differing opinions on this. I think Bruno is a good captain. We're not going through a good spell, and therefore more responsibility does come onto him because he is captain. But we want to get the next caller in. We've got Orion there. He wants to give Ten Hag more time, and he backs him. I see these. Of course, we're both in that same boat, but I like to know why.
Why is he making the motivation? These decisions? Yes.
So Orion, are you with us? Orion there with us?
Hi, mate.
Hi. Do you want to take it away, Adam?
How are you guys doing?
How are you doing, pal? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You had enough time to get over the Champions League disaster class that we had on Tuesday night now. I think it's time to try and look forward. But Ten Hag, for you, is he up against it? Do you feel like he is part to blame in a lot of the decision-making going on, or has this been forced upon him and he's just working with what he's got?
I don't actually blame Ten Hag for all this. It's not the first time losing this much games, losing this much precious games. And we have seen many managers come and fail before. The only achievement we achieved highly was the European League with Mourinho after Ferguson left.
Do you not think Ten Hag needs to take accountability for some of the things going wrong, though? Because he is the manager, and I like Ten Hag, and I do back him, but he's the manager of Man United, like I was saying the other day. Do you not think Ten Hag needs to take some accountability for decision-making, in-game management as the manager of United?
He needs, though he does not need this much of people shouting at him and other things. I think Ten Hag should be given more chance. He's not playing with his starting 11 since he came, as he said. We're not playing with our first starting 11 fullbacks. We're playing with a Wan-Bissaka, we're playing without Shaw and now Reguilon. We can do quite a thing. Amrabat is playing left back, a person who came as a defensive mid. And as I think about it, I think Casemiro is being a flop.
Oh, really?
Casemiro is not being a number 6. I think in my idea, Casemiro is not being a strong number 6 as last year. This year, I think Ten Hag thought about playing 2 center attacking midfielder players. That's why he brought in Mount. He wanted to play Bruno Fernandes and Mount all into attack, and he wanted Casemiro to secure the back four well, and he's not playing that well. I think that's why he brought in Amrabat.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Orion, and it's a shame that he can't play Amrabat in that midfield role. Well, he can do it, but he's restricted because of the options he's got. I think he should be doing it anyway.
Does it worry you that we haven't got like a plan B, like a system change? Everyone moaned about the diamond and stuff like that, but can he not go back? Can we not play a back three while we deal with this? Can we not get Amrabat into that midfield?
I wanted to ask, actually, what do you think about Casemiro being named Player of the Month? I think that shows where we're at, really.
That's where the goals are at. It's just because he scored goals, I think. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah. As a defensive midfielder, you don't want a player to score goals. That's nice, but that's not his main job.
Yeah.
His main job is securing that back foot. He needs to, he needs to make the transition better. He needs to secure the back four, and counter attacks are the key straight in Man United right now.
Yeah, he needs
We're getting a lot of counter attack. So we need Amrabat in the starting 11, and I think we should bench Casemiro for a bit when we get a fullback back.
Well, that is an interesting opinion, and I think a lot of people would be on board with that. He hasn't been tracking his runners. He has been left exposed, but again, his job is to help that back line, and it's not a lot of times this season. He's just not been doing it nowhere near as well as he did last year, and you can be debates about why that is. It's the personnel around him, but that is the facts of the matter. But Orion, thank you so much for calling up. Thank you for coming on. Next up, we've got an interesting one, Adam, here. We've got an interesting one. This call-in show, I like it because you can bring in loads of different types of opinions, but we actually have with us, by request, a Tottenham fan calling up because he wants to have his say from an outside perspective, as a different fan of a club, their opinion on Man United. Sometimes we don't want to hear the harsh truths, do we?
Oh,
really?
I prefer the harsh truths, to be honest. I always think the outlook from outside is always the most truthful one and the more realistic one, so this should be interesting.
Exactly, and a lot of guys asking how can you call in. Link is in the description to the Discord. Join up with that, or you can scan the QR code that comes onto the screen. Join the Discord, get in the waiting rooms, and we will drag you in when we can. But we should have now coming into the chat with us, David. David, are you with us?
I am with you.
David, thank you so much for coming on the show, and it's really nice to hear from an opposition fan. David, I'm going to be quite honest with you. Before the season started, I said I think Spurs will struggle to crack, top 7, top 6. I was thinking United are going to compete up there for at least, third or second again. I always knew City was going to win the league, but we're on opposite ends of the spectrum right now. United are in the position I imagine Spurs to be in, and Spurs are in the position I imagine United to be in. So let's have some opinion from you on this.
Yeah, I mean, the Spurs could be in the same position that Manchester United is in quite easily. It might have not taken well, but in relation to Manchester United, I hear all the talk about players not performing, but in the end, everyone, the job of everyone in this football club rests upon Erik ten Hag. It's him. He has to be accountable. I mean, if you look at Manchester United and how they look to play the same strategy without adjustments against all teams week in, week out. There's just no adjustment team to team. And in the Premier League, you can't do that. I think Adam was talking about why you get played through the midfield. And it's because Erik ten Hag hasn't drilled into his players what he wants them to do from the resulting plays on the pitch. And when you look at other teams, their players get told from their manager, when you get the ball at this position on the pitch, you must do 1, 2, or 3 of these things. But when you look at Manchester United, the players do so many different things that the team doesn't really know where the ball's going. So your team gets pulled out of shape, And then on that moment where you lose the ball, your team is out of shape. So you get played through midfield.
Do you feel like
this can't.
sorry to cut you off there, David? Do you feel like you've
Yeah.
seen that and proof is in the pudding in what Ange's implemented in your Spurs team this season as well?
This is Ange in disguise.
Yeah.
I can sense the native tone there as well. You're a big Ange fan as well, mate.
Oh, I'm an Aussie.
Yeah,
I'm an
I thought
Aussie.
you
So
It's Ange in disguise. There's a reason why we don't have videos on these call-ins. I'm joking.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of like how you guys are playing now, obviously a complete turnaround. You've not done much, I don't think, in the transfer market either. Brought in some good players in key areas. Obviously, you've lost one of the best strikers in world football and ended up getting better. So, do you see like what you're trying to describe there as United's flaw as something that has been empowered within this Spurs team now?
Well, Madison had an interview the other day, and I think it's striking. Madison said that Ange has given us confidence, but he's given us confidence to take risks on the pitch.
I could
Playing
see that
the
in
way
the
he wants.
Arsenal game. That definitely came through in the Arsenal game.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is I think Manchester United players are afraid of making a mistake.
Yep, it's true.
And because what I find is I don't see a manager taking the responsibility from the players, because Madison specifically said if I make a mistake and I make 2 or 3 mistakes, he knows Ange is not going to throw him under the bus or even mention it. At the press conference after the game, Ange is going to say, yes, these were mistakes. I asked the players to do this. If they're making mistakes, I haven't given them enough coaching, enough instructions to make the right decisions, and that's on me. That's the accountability, and Eric Ten Hag hasn't shown that to me. Like, I'm sure he's a good technical manager, but he hasn't shown that to me with the players, and his in-game management is awful. Awful. You know, one of the striking things for against Galatasaray when I was watching it was, you look at Marcus Rashford. He's playing on the left wing. Where was he playing when he gave the first assist to Højlund? On the right. Where was he playing when he ran through and incorrectly tried to give the assist to Bruno? He's the main man.
On the right,
he should
yeah.
strike from there, but he was on the right. So Eric Ten Hag should go, well, it looks like Galatasaray has no defensive scheme for Rashford on the right, so let's just play him there for a while. And if I have to put Bruno on the left or sub him out, I'm going to have to do that because Galatasaray hasn't got a defensive scheme against Rashford on the right. And he has to, I guess what I'm saying is Eric Ten Hag is playing soccer while opposing managers in the game are playing football against him at this moment in time. And he needs to get on his game.
David, I have to say there is a lot of things about Ten Hag this season that it does make you question. Like that example from David was absolutely correct. It's like certain things as well. It's like when we went down to 10 men, we still were going trying to score a goal. When you take the point at that point and put your defensive shape in order and make the right substitutions to shore up the game, it's very naive.
I thought, I thought what he was going to do, I thought he was just going to put Harry Maguire on, put him up front and play long and stay solid. Do you know what I mean? Anything can happen. Harry Maguire a flick on, something just like that, long ball. That's what you've got to cut your losses sometimes. We've seen it. Sir Alex Ferguson did it well. I think he was the best at it. It's like, right, we're not going to get smashed, but we have still got that little bit of a threat. So it's in-game management, you're right, and he has to be questioned on that because I think there's a few United fans scratching their head right now going, we love you, but come on, Eric, what's going on, mate?
Well, I want to ask David as well. That's exactly how people are feeling, by the way. I want to ask David as well. Lastly, obviously, from an outside perspective, Bruno and Rashford are seen as Man United's star players. They're getting a lot of stick right now within the Manchester United fan base for not playing anywhere near what we know is their best and letting the team down in a lot of aspects. What are your thoughts on them two as players? And obviously, you lost Harry Kane and you actually got better, like Adam said. So, what are your thoughts on them two?
Get better by losing Harry Kane. We adjusted.
There we go.
But in terms of Bruno, a lot of people criticize him on he's not careful with the ball. He loses the ball. But again, that is on Eric Ten Hag. If you look at Manchester United in the final third where he's got the ball, everyone's very static. Everyone's lost. He needs to get Bruno more time and more space. And the only way he can do so is creating offensive schemes to pull players away from the middle, because the opposing team knows at the moment
Too
they're
easy
static,
to play
they're lost.
against.
Yeah. So
Too
they don't
easy.
need, they can crowd Bruno, and that just makes it even tougher for him. Now, would I play Bruno and keep him on for 80 minutes? No. Would I start Rashford? Yes, because look, as much as what everyone says, he is a senior player, and you don't disrespect your senior and star players in this fashion by benching them and then putting a young kid on you'll drop in a poorly performing team, which will almost guarantee a poor performance. You put Rashford on. If you want to send a message, put him on for the first half. If he doesn't do what the manager wants, you pull him off at halftime. This is what the elite managers do. You have to follow what I say. But I think what Eric Ten Hag is saying isn't getting through, or he just can't come up with extra things.
I would disagree with you on that one, David, in terms of the star players. Rashford, for me, and within a lot of United fan base, isn't a star player. He's a very, very good player, and he was our best player last season, goal-wise. But I wouldn't start Marcus Rashford. I just don't see. He's a form player, and when he's out of form, he is pretty useless. I'm not mixing my words. He really is. Unless he is on it and he has got his goal, he doesn't offer anything. He goes wandering in games. He hasn't got the strength. He hasn't got the will to fight up top. You look at all the other forwards and the teams at the top. They've all got that bite. They've all got that little bit of aggression in the game. Rashford hasn't got that. He can't work his way back into games. It needs to be ideal. The situation has to be perfect for Rashford. He holds on to the ball too much. He wants the perfect shot. It doesn't work like that. The best players dig something out of nothing. Rashford hasn't got that.
I think Rashford has dig stuff out of nothing.
I don't think he has. I think it has to be perfect.
PSG away, the last minute, from the outside of the box.
PSG away.
It was ages ago, but he has.
Yeah, and on the manager, like David says,
he dug some out of nothing by himself.
Yeah, because he was benched. He came on with a point to prove.
He's not done it recently, but he can make stuff out of nothing. That is Rashford.
But when he's not on it, you don't start him.
But Rashford's.
Let him come on.
I'm going to be honest. I disagree with you here. I don't think Rashford's ever over a course of 90 minutes been on it. I don't think he's an on-it player. I think Rashford's bread and butter is not playing very well and then getting a goal out of nothing. So I think he does make them. That's why he plays.
That is not. Honestly, with Rashford, I don't think he is. I think he is a form player. When he has got that moment, he has scored a goal the week before. I could see something happening.
Goals. He doesn't play well over 90 minutes.
But look at him now. How long can you wait? How many points can you drop and fall away just waiting for your so-called star player to actually turn up? This is 6 defeats in 10 games. 2 defeats in the opening 2 games of the Champions League where he's been shocking. So, no.
Adam, just one quick point. One quick point about that. I understand he hasn't been playing well, but the way you develop your play from the back through the midfield means that Rashford does not get the service and the ball delivery like he did last year. He gets it slower, which allows the defenses to run their schemes against him and put 3-4 men in front of him. I see from time to time players overlapping, but very rarely, because he's far up the pitch, you don't see an outlet pass for him when there are 3-4 players in front of him. He does need a pass off to the outlet pass.
He has had them chances though, mate, this season. He has.
I know.
This is the thing. His decision making is not on.
It's on the manager to figure it out. Not Rashford.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and if I was the manager, I would drop him to the bench.
Yeah, but by the way, I've been saying I would drop Rashford. I think it's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. But I do think Eric Ten Hag can't go into Rashford's body and make that decision for him. During that moment in time, he can't do that. Like, Rashford should have scored against Galatasaray. He should have scored against Brighton. There's so many games where he should have done better this season. Against Brighton, he should have passed it instead of shooting. You know, there's so many situations where Rashford could have done better. Eric Ten Hag can't get into Rashford's head at that moment. What he can do is try and coach his decision making, which is a tough thing to do. But as a manager of Man United, you've got to be able to do it. But what also he can do is bench him and kind of try and teach him a lesson in a way that way. But
Great
David,
points, David. Thank you very much, mate.
Really
Love it, pal.
Did kind of bring up a topic that is
it's good.
rife in the Man United fan base.
We best get through the super chats here because they're all going crazy on this one. I think David stirred the hornet's nest there. But that's why it's important that you get plenty of look in. I mean, United fans are red tinted. We're always going to be red tinted.
So we've got
that opposition fan and that outlook from the outside in, he's always a very realistic one, and he makes some great points, David, there.
He did. He very much did. TK says, as much as half the United fans don't like Sancho at the moment, we need him for service for Højlund.
No.
We need his passes. He's good with his passes. Just look at him with Haaland at Dortmund. It's been 3 years, TK, and he's not provided that for us. Sean Turner, the difference is when other players like Bruno aren't playing well, at least they track back and look as if they are trying. Rashford doesn't even do that. Time to be dropped. Glenny Boy says, easy for everyone to say it's up to Ten Hag to get more at the players, but this is the same bunch that managed to play 30 minutes only for Ragnick. Interesting stuff there, and you're not wrong. And Sai Gales, Memphis 29 months, says, Adam, who are you starting instead?
Of who?
Rashford, I think he means.
I would play Palestre on the left. No, sorry, what am I saying now?
No, you mean Palestre on the right, don't you?
I'd say, yeah, I'm going Palestre on the right, Antony on the left, and Højlund up front. I'd drop everyone.
Anthony on the left, I'd like to see it.
Anthony
I would love to see Anthony on the left.
Yeah, I will quote Ricky right now. Ricky would love that lineup up front. I'm telling you now, even Ricky would go, you know what you've got? You've got a left footer on the left, you've got a right footer on the right, and you've got someone in the box who's an actual number 9. We've seen it with Rashford's cross. When have we ever seen a goal scored by a centre-forward like Højlund did his first goal? That's Alan Shearer-esque. Will you put the ball in the box and play some simple football? I'll tell you what, that defence isn't looking at United's attack and going, this is easy to play against, because all we're doing is passing it around sideways in front of them. Get down the line, mix it up, change it up, put a ball in first time for a change.
I'd be very interested to sit down with Ten Hag and say, why would you not play Anthony on the left? Why would you not try
it's like what David just said. Rashford goes out to the right and gets 2 pieces of like what could have been crucial, like his assist, which was good, and then he should have scored a goal, both from the right, but he starts on the left.
Well, I said on the forum, I'm going to get another caller in because we'll actually discuss this, but I said on the forum a couple of weeks back is I would play Rashford off the right, Højlund up front, and potentially even Martial off the left, to be honest with you. But want to get another caller in
Options
now. Marcus, want to discuss...
Rashford's come on. He's come to fight us.
He's come to fight his battle, Adam. Be careful. Are you with us?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's not Rashford, thank God.
We can hear you. We can tell it's not Rashford.
Not Rashford.
But Marcus, thank you for coming on. You wanted to discuss the current form, and I mean, there's a thing about form, but how long can bad form last? It's been since the start of this season. We've had one good performance, and it was against the second-string Palace team in the Cup. I mean, what do you put this down to?
Well, the biggest question that I kind of had for both of you in regards to the form is everyone's been talking about the injuries and how much of a massive impact that's having on us right now. And the question that I've got is, if everyone was fit, how much better off do you realistically think we've been given?
Yeah.
I think we'd be better, personally.
No, I think, you know what, it's like, I looked at it, and this is where I was coming to that front line that I picked. We're not, and I'm going back to Ranić here actually, physicality. We are weak.
Oh, we are so weak.
We get battered week in, week out physically.
I said we're cats.
I want Amrabat in that middle because he looks like a warrior. I'd have Shaw on the left because, let's be honest, when Shaw's like, you don't get past him, he's rock solid.
I said this, we miss Shaw so much because he gives it up and down the line.
No, I mean, and then you look at what you've got, and that's why I picked Antony. He's like a pit bull. He doesn't let go of anything, and he will track back and he will make a foul and have a bite. You're not going to get that from Sancho, Rashford, Martial. They'll dip the toe in cold, jump a mile, them three. They're weak. True. They're all weak. They won't put the body on the line for anyone. If I were Ten Hag right now, I'd quote Roy Keane, who am I going to the trenches with? That's what I'd look at right now, because you need to fight your way back into form. You're not going to be able to play it, because these teams are bullying us.
But could you imagine Erik Ten Hag kicking a pile of clothes in a boot, hitting one of our players in the face?
Oh, yes.
It'd be World War III, wouldn't it?
I mean, Marcus, I'm with you on terms of like the injuries. I mean, for me, I picked out Shaw, Martinez, and possibly Wan-Bissaka at best, who we're missing right now at the back. I know, obviously, you build from the back, and that's important, but I didn't want to use that as the excuse. I mean, we've had chances and the forwards haven't taken them. They have to be accountable as well. So it all comes down to the same thing. We're using it as an excuse for me that a few players are injured.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with the majority of the fan base that are just absolutely desperate to see Amrabat play alongside Casemiro there, because I think that's the reason why Casemiro's come under so much stick recently. It's just because he's not had the support next to him. He's having to do too much. And we need to accept that he's not the player that he was in his prime Madrid times. And I just think if you've got Amrabat, who's already been deemed as this player who can just play absolutely anywhere, and he's got so much energy and all this class. And I do think he's a good player, but just imagine if he's actually able to do that box-to-box role, and that just lets Casemiro just be that anchor in front of the defence and let Amrabat fly forward and, assist with, whoever we're starting in the forward players, but whoever our best forward is, we don't know, do we, apart from Højlund. But yeah, I'm just desperate to see that partnership in the midfield. And yeah, I agree. I mean, Shaw coming back is going to have such a big impact for us, but it's been in the news quite a lot recently, hasn't it? Does Ten Hag actually know his best 11? And I'm a big supporter of Ten Hag, and I still am, but I do accept he needs to take accountability for what's going on. But I'm also questioning if he actually does know his best 11 at the moment.
Well, we've been waiting to see Amrabat with Casemiro for so long, exactly like you said, and we're going to talk about what midfield we start on Saturday against Brentford, because we do need to talk about it. But I mean, a super chat just come in there. Lee J's Beckham documentary is a reminder of how far we've fallen.
I watched it last night. The first episode.
Simply not the same. I'm watching it when I get home, but I've seen that clip go around Twitter. Do you know what I'd do if I was Ten Hag? Make them all watch that in training together and say, this is what this club is, and
do you know what,
give me a little bit of it. Do you know what
the biggest thing from that was? The best bit out of that first episode that I watched was Paul Ince talking about Sir Alex Ferguson. When you look at a player, he looks at a player and he goes, have you got a girlfriend? How long have you been together? Are you in the same house? And he's talked about this recently, Sir Alex Ferguson, as well as a clip that came out about him knowing absolutely everything about every single player that he brought into the football club. I was surprised a little bit, because he said the one player that got away who he would have always signed was Paul Gascoigne. And I thought, that's not a Ferguson lifestyle off the pitch, that. But because we were talking about Beckham and everything that he was off the pitch as well, and what Ferguson didn't like, it was a nightmare for him.
Imagine Sancho under Fergie.
This is it. This is like, it goes down to where? It comes right back to the recruitment and the mistakes that Ole and Ed Woodward made.
Signing
Pep kicked Sancho out with no release clause. Why is no one picking up on that? Why is that? Why are we not picking up on that?
Apparently Sancho did ask to leave, but the fact he let him go, you wouldn't let
he walked
go
off a training. He walked off a training ground in front of Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, it just wouldn't happen.
So do you know what I mean? It's like, how are we not finding out the ins and outs? This is Manchester United. It needs to be elite.
100%, 100%. I mean, Marcus, I want to ask you, what midfield three would you play then on Saturday? I'd be edging towards Casemiro, Amrabat, and Mount, to be honest with you. What would you be going for?
Well, if you're doing that, are you saying that you're going to play Bruno out on the right?
Oh, do you know what? No, sorry.
You forgot about Bruno.
Misheard. Casemiro, Amrabat, Bruno, and then Mount on the right is what I'd do. But do you know what? If he dropped Bruno, everybody knows how much I love Bruno. If he dropped Bruno, it wouldn't be the end of the world for me right now. It wouldn't be.
No one's undroppable in that team.
But Marcus, I asked you the question.
I know we've been forced to do it because of injuries and something, but I just can't stand Bruno out on the right. It's just, you just lose his effectiveness. Like, he's so powerful through the middle. That's his position. When he had his first season with us and he broke out, he was playing in that centre attacking mid position. He was so good. And we just need to keep him in that position, let him get a good run of games. But yeah, to answer the question, I completely agree. If possible, absolutely. Casemiro, Amrabat, Bruno, that midfield three needs to happen. If we're stuck ending up playing Amrabat fullback again, which I suspect we might be, then yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to end up playing Mount. I wouldn't be too angry if I saw what's his name again, Hannibal, play there, but I'd probably want to see Mount because I want to see him get a good run of games in and sort of prove his worth. But yeah, absolutely. In an ideal world, I'd absolutely have Amrabat next to Bruno and Casemiro.
Thank you, Marcus, for calling in. I really do appreciate your call. Adam, before I get someone else in, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what Marcus touched on there, which is interesting. What I can't get my head around is Mount's played so well on the right for Chelsea in the past. Bruno's, I don't think, ever played well on the right for United, apart from in the Burnley game where he got his goal from that side. And overall, like, as the whole game, he didn't really play well. It was just the goal.
Yeah.
Why would you play Bruno, your most creative player, out on the right and Mount in the middle? If you were going to play them together, surely you'd put Mount on the right and Bruno in the middle. And if he doesn't do that, Saturday and he sticks with that, and if he doesn't play Lindelof full-back and move Amrabat into midfield, big question marks for me, because how aren't you seeing it? That's what I would say.
Do you know you counteract it? You say, look, OK, lads, you're playing for Manchester United. You're competing for your position. You've got no God-given right to be on that pitch. Mount or Bruno misses out. It's simple. Round pegs, round holes. You've got a right winger. We've got an abundance of right wingers. They're the ones that go on the right, not Mason Mount. Mount has to fight his way into this team.
He's played on the right for Chelsea.
He has played on the right there, but why did we buy him? We didn't buy him for the right.
Yeah, it's true.
We did not buy him for the right. We don't need a right winger. So Mount, no. Sorry, mate, you're going to have to pull up trees. I thought it was good.
He's been better than Bruno the last few
I thought it was good, so make the decision. Does Bruno go into an 8? Casemiro drop out, Amrabat come in? None of these players are undroppable.
True.
You have to just make the decision. For me, I think Mount deserves to be in the team personally, but I think he needs to be in at 10. That's where he needs to be. I think Bruno needs to be at 8, either next to Casemiro or Amrabat. For me right now, do you know what? I'm not at a loss for dropping Casemiro to the bench.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think Bruno would be so much more disciplined as an 8. We've seen it in the past. And plus, as he's going into his latter years,
he goes into an 8 anyway.
He's nowhere near close to it.
He gets to... You have to harness Bruno. He's a bit of a... He's a firecracker, isn't he? When things are not going right, he's in every single position. So, for me, I'm putting Bruno in and keeping him at 8. We've got Hannibal and Mount to play at 10.
This is an interesting super chat, Adam. Manchild says, Bruno is 14th in the world for goals and assists in 2023. Rashford is 8th. They are good. The demands last season were intense. They'll come good. This is the thing I keep saying. At Man United, you don't have time to come good. You've got to be good all the time. You've got to be consistent.
Standards.
If you want to drop out of form for a bit, go and play for, the likes of Aston Villa. But not in Man United, you can't do that. Aston Villa are better than us at the minute, so that's where we're at. But, I mean, we've got the next caller in, Malik, saying Ten Hag is the right manager, but I want to know what the but is. This is what I keep hearing everybody say at the minute. I'll go and have a conversation with my friends and they'll be like, yeah, Ten Hag is the man, but... And it's like there's so many question marks. So, Malik, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. How you guys doing?
Hi, Malik. Good, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
What's that big but? Go on, tell us, mate.
So I just wanted to say, first of all, that, listen, Ten Hag can lose the next 4 or 5 games and I'll still be Ten Hag in. Because I think he's the right man to take us forward. Last season, it was a good first season. This season, maybe not so, but then we have to stick by the manager. And I can see, by his mannerisms and the way he comes across, that he's a serious manager. And I just like the way, his philosophy and everything, and I stand by what he's doing. But then I have to criticize a few things that he's doing as well. So I think some players need to be dropped, and I do get to the complaint where people say that he's got favourites. Because I think Rashford needs to be dropped as well. Bruno needs to be dropped, in my opinion. I think Casemiro needs to be dropped. I think the senior players are starting to let Ten Hag down. And I think he's not dropping them because he's already had issues off the pitch with Sancho and Ronaldo. And if you drop players like Rashford and Bruno, it's going to cause up an even bigger stir in the dressing room. So that was my take so far.
Yeah, no, I understand the fear of Ten Hag and the unrest it's going to cause. Because
you've got to be fearless to be United manager, though.
You've got to be... I mean, it's no surprise for me. I mean, it's a coincidence that Rashford's best mate Sancho has gone off the rails and so has Rashford's form.
That's no excuse, though.
I know it's not an excuse, but this is the weak mentality of a modern-day footballer. Well, especially one that's wearing a United shirt, because you have to carry a lot more. It's like City. There's no pressure. Any other club in this league, there's no pressure compared to United pressure. It doesn't even compare. International level, forget it. Look at what Harry Maguire does in an England shirt. You put on that red shirt, you have to know everything. And I'm going back to Sir Alex again. You have to know the character of the player as well as his ability on the football pitch. If he hasn't got the mental attitude and that mindset of dealing with cup finals week in, week out, he isn't going to succeed at Manchester United.
But a lot of these players have a history of being losers.
The thing is, though...
Apart from, obviously, the likes of the Casemiros and the Varans.
Look where we're at now. We're 10 years on. We're a decade on from what I just described and the standards that were there. A new generation of fans is coming in and talking about players, oh, but he's done this. Look at the stats on this. What's he won? Nothing. There's your standards. What's he won? Where's his mentality of winning games?
Casemiro and obviously Martinez won a World
Cup. And we've had to bring them in.
Yeah.
And that's not worked because we dragged them down. The standards at United have gone so low that we dragged the players down that we're thinking they're going to actually take us to that next level. We dragged them down into the mixer with them. And then
we've bought them too late.
Everyone thinks that it's okay. everyone thinks that it's okay and these players are playing all right, we need to get off the backs. It's like, no, I'm sorry, I was born, I apologise for it, I was born in a different generation, I was brought up different as a United fan, and I don't accept these standards.
Yeah.
I say it as it is, spade's a spade. I love Rashford, I love Bruno, but if they were dropped at weekends, I couldn't give a toss.
Yeah, I mean, neither could I, and obviously we're from a little bit of a different generation, but at the same time, you know, United fans need to have their standards high, but also look at what you've got to deal with. Like, look at the squad we've got. We've not exactly got an embarrassment of riches.
Beth, right now, the way I feel right now, and I think a lot of United
I wouldn't care
fans,
if anyone got dropped right now.
If you lined up with Garnacho, Palestra and Højlund up front, and you had, say, for instance, a Hannibal mixed in with a Bruno and a Casemiro, you see the atmosphere at Old Trafford and the appreciation for making a call like that and what this club is built on and what it's made of. Well, the first team players aren't exactly cutting it, let's be honest. So if you want the fans back on board, do something a little bit different. Yeah, maybe not to that extreme, but don't go back, don't revert back to what has failed. That's what I'm saying with Ten Hag.
I mean, let's move it in a slightly different direction. Malik, I want to ask you, this is a controversial one at the minute. Onana, we've not spoke about him yet, but he's obviously doing the rounds within the United fan base. A lot of blame getting put onto him. Seen some people say, you know, the defence needs more blame. Obviously, he's made some mistakes. Would you drop him?
I wouldn't drop Onana. I wouldn't.
Do you think he'll come good?
I think Onana will come good. I watched him in the Champions League final last year and I was envious of him. And then he actually ended up coming to us, which was a good thing. But I think that wearing the Man United goalkeeper shirt is really difficult. And I think that he has had a bad start to his Manchester United career. But I think that in pre-season, there was a goal that he conceded where he got lobbed. And I think since then, I never see Onana high up off his line anymore. He's always like glued to his line. And I think this change has also like kind of changed the way Onana's played as well. And I don't think that's how Onana plays. And I also think there is a point where he is letting in a lot more shots than De Gea. But I think we have to give Onana time. He's a new signing. The Man U shirt is very heavy, and I think we got to give him some time.
Yeah.
Malik, I'm completely with you on that one. You said to drop him, Adam.
Oh, he's out. Sorry, I've seen enough.
Come on, Adam.
No, I'm not having it anymore.
Don't be reactionary.
I'm not being reactionary.
What's he going to put Binder in, who we have no idea if he's good enough or not? And then what if he's rubbish? Then Onana's confidence knocks and you've got
What did I just say to you about players that come to United? Players that come to United, we buy a player because of the way he's playing at that club at that time, but then try and change that player. If we're going to change Onana in this system, it's pointless in being in the team. He's not come off his line or outside his box once. He looks like he can't save anything, honestly.
He does at the moment.
Again,
he looks really bad
I'll go back to it. Where are United standards? How long can we sit and wait for a player? We haven't backed this up. Like, De Gea was crap at first. We gave him time, but we're champions. We're winning things under Sir Alex Ferguson. We built a player up there because we could. Right now, Ten Hag hasn't got the time to bank on Onana. I'm looking at the manager going, we're backing this manager here, but you bought 2 goalkeepers in the summer. You bought Binder for a reason. Onana right now looks shot of confidence. I'd never seen a player, and I was disgusted in his... it might be a bit harsh saying disgusted, but the way he went down on the floor after conceding that goal against Bayern, for me, I'm like, Jesus, toughen up. You made a mistake, own it, and get back on it. He looked distraught.
Well, he was annoyed at himself.
But no, he literally had to be picked up off the floor. It's like, I made a mistake, let's get back on this.
I think you've been a bit harsh.
I'm not anymore with him, honestly, because I've seen people make excuses for average performances, and that's where I'm at right now. I think a bit of time out might do a lot of these players good. They may just take that step back, because let's not forget, they're going into this team thinking that they can play crap and they're going to play next week. There's no accountability at all for any of these players playing so bad.
I get that with the other players, but goalkeeper is a very different sort of position. And Anna's not been good enough, but you walk in a very thin line if you drop him now. Because some people might know if he's good or not. I'm going to be honest, didn't watch loads of Fenerbahce. I don't know if he's good enough or not. He comes in and he's rubbish. You're in a situation where Onana's absolutely shot of confidence. We look like an embarrassment. I think you've got to back him and stick with him. It's been 7 weeks.
And we've lost 6 games.
I know, but it's not as if he's like a player that's been here for years and been rubbish over years. We've brought him in. It's a difficult position. I think we've got to give him a little bit.
It is a difficult position, I know that, but it's if he makes a mistake, and like Malik said, he wants to back him and give him time, but if he makes another mistake at weekend and costs us again,
I know, it's a tricky one.
It's going to get worse for him before it gets any better. It's like, again, has he got the mentality? I mean, Malik, do you think he's got the mentality? Do you think he's got the right attitude to bounce back from this? Because for me, he looks distraught at the moment, and there's a lot going on as well with him, with international issues and stuff like that. It just seems to be like he's struggling with a lot of things.
I think Onana is the person with the right mentality. I think that can't be questioned, because when he made that mistake against Bayern Munich, first thing he comes down and does is apologise. And you can see, like, in the way he speaks in interviews, I'll bring it back to the Champions League final again. He was asked if he fears Haaland. He said he doesn't fear Haaland. And I just think Onana is the person. I think he's the right goalkeeper. I think he's got the right mentality. And I think, if anything, we should just trust him, just wait. And he's one that can cope with the pressure, in my opinion.
Thank you, Malik, for calling in.
Cheers, Malik.
I really appreciate your opinion there. Lee J says Bruno causes chaos and not calmness. Then we have other super chatting from PC Gamer Tag. The tactics from Erik ten Hag need to be improved. We get through too easily. Defensively, we have too many gaps in midfield exploited by opposition teams. Absolutely dead on with that one. Raycan says this isn't Sympathy FC. Drop Onana, Bruno, Rashford and whoever. Keel Robinson says Adam, welcome to Ricky FC. And Woozy says Maignan was always better than Onana. Shame he's very injury prone though. Given our love of Chelsea players, how long before we overpay for Kepa?
Well, you look at it's something that people forgot about Onana last season. He didn't play week in, week out.
We'll bring the next
He barely got 30 games for Inter Milan last season.
We'll bring the next caller in and continue this discussion. Jared from Bermuda, are you there? Jared, is he with us?
Yes, I'm right here.
Yeah,
how are you, mate?
Thank you, Jared. I mean, you can carry on. I don't know if you were listening then to that Onana conversation. You can have a little bit of a say on that if you want, but also talking about Ten Hag's inability to adapt. Take us away.
Yes. So, as you know, I've been a subscriber ever since Mark started the United Stand, and I'm very thankful for everything that you guys do for us. First of all,
thank you.
And the reason I came up with the topic is because Ten Hag is very stubborn, and of course, that can be a good thing and a bad thing in management. And so what I think he should do is look at the opposition. As much as us, many fans would say, no, don't look at the opposition, play your specific way. Right now, he doesn't have the players to play his specific way, so he has to change things up, and he's continuously trying to play the way that he wants to play, right? Based on what we've seen. But if something isn't working, you have to change it. And the game against Crystal Palace in the League Cup, for example,
I'm just sorry, Jared, just playing devil's advocate here. Obviously, Ten Hag wants to be competing at the top level. I know we've not got the results, right. And I'm just playing devil's advocate. Do you think if things started going wrong for Pep, Klopp, the likes of the top managers in the world, Ancelotti, they'd ditch the way that they play, ditch their style of play and think, I'm going to do something different here? Or do you think they would persist with it?
No, they would. They would persist with it.
We're not. I'm sorry. I'll let you come in again, but we're not like an Everton that's going to have to, change their game plan for each sort of opposition. We're Man United. We should be playing a certain style of football.
Right. Understandable. But if you're looking at the circumstance that we're currently going through, we say Ten Hag. I understand Ten Hag wants to do that. And yes, I understand you, Beth. We are Manchester United, and we should be in one way. We should have one way of football. The Manchester United way stands out from Sir Alex Ferguson. If he persists with it, he has to make the tactical adjustments that will work to persist with it, right? And that's what I mean by adaptability. It doesn't have to be a formation change or a complete switch to adjust to the opposition. It just has to be where where it fits the players that he currently has,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Jared. I do think we've kind of come to a little bit of an agreement there, because obviously things aren't working at the moment, but it's on Ten Hag as a top level manager. You have to make it work at the end of the day. You have to make it work. Jared, thank you so much for calling in. Really do appreciate the lovely comments there and
Cheers,
giving us a different opinion. Thanks, Jared, for that one. I mean, Spot On says Onana and Rashford need to be set down, take a few weeks to rediscover the hunger, get a few players in that actually fight for the ball and show desire to play for the shirt. I think that's what Adam was talking a little about before, and I don't think a lot of the fan base would be against that. And Daniel Winstanley says Onana came in at the wrong time. And Spot On says, oh wait, no, I've read that one out. I think I've read them all up to now. So let's get another caller in, because we've only got 10 minutes left. I mean, we have Elijah coming on, and Adam, do you want to take it away with a question here for Elijah?
Elijah, how are you doing?
Hello there. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
We're not too bad at all, mate. We're not too bad at all. I mean, looking ahead, obviously, let's try and put aside all of the negativity of it. Obviously, Highland, I think we've got to look at that as a positive. Obviously, Garnacho, again, in recent weeks has been decent for us. Anthony returning. I suppose the big question now, Elijah, is he's got the opportunity to change things up. Would you change it up?
Absolutely.
How are you changing it, buddy? Where are you going? What's the most important part, mate, first? Which area of the pitch are you changing up?
For me, do you know what? It's got to be the midfield and the attack. I think they're both equally what I want to see changes in. I think I heard Beth earlier in the show talking about Casemiro, Amrabat, and then Mount, and then she decided to put Mount to the wing. I don't want to see that. I want to see Bruno on the bench, and I love Bruno equally as much as Beth does. I love Bruno. I want to see.
It's so tough, isn't it?
I want to. Yeah, it's hard because I do love him and I do carry a lot of respect for Bruno Fernandes. But I think I want to see a statement made by Ten Hag. I want to see brave decisions. I want to see a difference in his approach to this game. And I've done my homework. And Brentford this season, 7 games in, have won 1 game, drawn 4, lost 2. They're massively missing Ivan Toney up front. And I think that Wissa is quite clearly not Ivan Toney. No. And we need to exploit that.
Yeah, I mean,
we need to exploit.
Yeah, we need to be taking the game to them is basically what you're saying, Elijah.
Old Trafford as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We've got to. We're at home. We've got the crowd on our side, and we've got to do it. You know, they're 14th in the league. You know, they're not the team they were. I think the most area of danger for me looking at them this season would be set pieces. They do have the old Burnley man in Ben Mee who has scored against us for Brentford.
Right now, isn't he?
I don't know.
Is he injured?
Yeah,
he was injured, yeah, but I don't know if he's back.
So. I'm hoping so. I think set pieces is a huge threat for them going forward into this game. You know, they were drawing 1-1. Their last game result was a 1-1 draw with Nottingham Forest, and Forest had a man sent off in the 56th minute, and they couldn't get a winner. So they are struggling for creation in that team, though they do have players like Norgard and Janel and etc. like that. They do have some good players in there.
All of that scares me.
That's what I mean. They need to get up and running. Come to Old Trafford, you have a field day.
Oh, no. I totally get what Elijah's saying there. It's a scary thought, isn't it? Knowing they are poor this season. They are missing the big key player. But I mean,
I found it weird that Thomas Frank went on Monday Night Football and told all of his game plan to everyone.
Yeah, he's another one of them weird guys, isn't
it? It was odd. Here's how you beat us, everyone.
Yeah. Who would you play in that front three, Elijah?
For me, it would be Højlund, no, without a doubt. I would freshen it up. I'd bring Martial in. If he's fit, which is always the question. I'd put him on the wing. You know, whether he wants to be there or not, that's neither here nor there. It's your chance to perform. I'd put him on the left and I'd bring Anthony straight back into the fold. I know obviously the off-field antics are what most people will judge him upon right now, but it's about football, his work ethic, his hard work, and him being an actual right winger. We've had enough of these players being put in square pegs in round holes. We're seeing it time and time again. Amrabat left back. You know, Mount on the wing, Bruno on the wing. I want to see players in their actual position. And for me, Martial is a left winger, not a forward, not a striker. So although he can do a job there, I'd like to see that front three, see how that works at home.
Elijah, I would absolutely love that front three. I really do want Martial to be able to play on the wing. I'm just not sure fitness-wise if he's up to it. But if he is up for it, I would 100% play him there. It's strange that you could ask like 10 different United fans who their lineup is, and you get a different answer out of every single one at the minute. That's the way that things are right now. Keel Robinson put a super chat in saying Mount over Bruno, Rashford on the right, Anthony on the left, and Maguire centre back. Interesting stuff, Keel. That's what I want to bring up, Elijah. Does Maguire come in for this game?
Again, good question. Do you know what? I'm going to say no. Only on the basis that I think Lindelof and Varane, if both fit, work well, complement each other well. But there is an argument to be made, as I said before, in regard to the cup game. Maguire didn't put a foot wrong. He did not put a foot wrong, and he was dropped ever since. He hasn't had a look in, which I don't agree with. So if he comes back in, I'll fully back it. I'll back anyone who takes that pitch on the weekend.
And then lastly, Elijah, I just wanted to say, so you'd continue playing Amrabat left back?
If Reguilon's not fit, I think what I've seen is it's a race against time from what I've seen to see if he is going to pass a fitness test. If Reguilon is fit, absolutely not. Amrabat in midfield. Square pegs in round holes. Amrabat, I think, is the only one who can play there. So yeah, Amrabat would have to stay if Reguilon can't make it.
I disagree. I put Lindelof there. He played decent there in the last second half against Palace.
In terms of, like you're saying there, like, and Elijah said, like, Harry Maguire didn't put a foot wrong. Johnny Evans didn't against Burnley.
That's true.
And he's available. So
yeah,
that was our last clean sheet in the league, our last win in the league. So does Johnny Evans come in, Lindelof to the left? Can we adapt this, put some more naturally defensive players in the positions they should be in?
The fact you actually are considering like putting Lindelof as a fullback shows how thin we are, because I mean,
left back.
Arguably you'd put Dalot at left back and then Lindelof as the right back. But then when Lindelof came on as a fullback in the Palace game, he kept Dalot there and played Lindelof at left back. So interesting stuff, Elijah. But lastly, before you go, are you expecting us to get a result on Saturday? Do you think we will win the game realistically, or are your confidence is shot?
My confidence is always shaky. I think a lot of people share the same view. But for me, I'm demanding a reaction from these players. I'm praying, and I want to see a reaction. I want to see Ten Hag on the front foot. I want to see our team on the front foot, and I want them 3 points.
Thank you, Elijah.
Cheers,
lovely to hear from you. Always great to have you on. Just speaking complete sense there. I think we have time for just one more quick caller on the call-in show, so we'll get them in straight away. Zalog, I hope that's how I pronounce your name. If not, please do correct me. Manager not doing anything to affect the team. This is something that keeps getting brought up as well. Are you with us?
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
How are you doing, buddy?
Hi, thank you for coming on.
I just wanted to talk about Erik Ten Hag and the things I feel like he isn't doing, because it feels like at the moment he's there, but he's just there as a mascot rather than anything actually doing as a manager. Like, if you look at the mistakes that we're making at the moment, it's the mistakes that we were making last season. So, like, Bruno's still shooting from 30 yards out on his weak foot. Like, why he hasn't told him to cut that out yet, I cannot understand. Like, Rashford, he's still doing his predictable antics on the left, where he just tries and dribbles through 2 or 3 players, then trips over and looks for a free kick or a penalty. And it's very rare you see him pass. And then he did play better on the right. So, but it just feels like he's not doing any coaching because the players keep making the same mistakes. And even from a style of play perspective, like, we've got Onana doing what De Gea used to do, so why the bloody hell did we buy him? Like, it's just, it doesn't feel like there's any sort of team cohesion. No one's playing for each other like they were last season. It's just, it feels like the players get up and they go to the game, they play the game, no matter what result, then we just go home and then they wait for the next one. It doesn't feel like there's any sort of training going on, because, like, our set pieces are still a joke. I heard something, it was like a stat, but Ronaldo was the last person to score our direct free kick or something like that.
Yeah, it was against Spurs at Old Trafford. Feels like ages ago.
Oh, was it Norwich?
Missing.
Oh yeah, maybe Norwich.
Yeah.
Maybe Norwich.
Yeah.
But I mean, Zalog, you're speaking complete sense. Complete sense. I'm so glad we got you on, and I wanted to speak as well about. For me, it feels like it's like Ten Hag's given a game plan to all the players, but each player's is like there's 4 different game plans, and each one's got a different copy. It just doesn't feel like they're on the same page. I mean, what do you want Ten Hag to do from here to change things?
If I'm being brutally honest, he needs to grow a spine and drop the players who are not performing for him, because it's always Bruno and Rashford, and you could argue Casemiro, because Casemiro's got that thing recently where he's doing those stupid, like, long balls and they never go off, so we're always losing possession. And I feel like what we want to do, he needs. I know it was only a cup game and it was against Crystal Palace's B team, but he needs to look at what the players did right in that game when we won 3-0, because that was the only game this season we've played any sort of football that's appeasing to watch or good football at all. Like the Burnley game was absolutely like terrible. And then we move into the Crystal Palace game, it's like night and day. He needs to look at that example of what happened and try and copy that with the players that he's got at the moment, even if it is.
It's funny how he says.
Are they just not the type of players to do it, though? Or are the players not listening? But if they're not listening, then surely they should be dropped. I mean,
you look at some of the goals that we have scored. It's like Casemiro, long ball into the back stick when he should have played it short, got us a goal. Martial, Johnny Evans, long ball to Bruno Fernandes.
Hit and hope, Adam.
They're waiting for moments from key players, and where it sort of counteracts what he's saying now. It's still, we're just expecting someone on that pitch to do something instead of having a game plan or a system or a transitional play or phases of play where we know what we're doing. It's like the best example I've got, and I hate to say it, is Liverpool. They don't go heavy metal football continuously all the way through the game. They'll have a 10-15 minute spell where they know, and the whole team just switches into a different mode and then just blows teams away in a short spell. Then they back off, they take the breather, they try and lure the other team back out again and then hit them with a different counter-attacking option. There are multiple gameplays, like you said there, but there are different times to bring it in. I think United at the moment is like, right guys, if we do go behind, which we will, because we're just expecting to concede a goal now every single week, we're going to do this. We're just going to hit that ball long into that corner, and then Bruno or someone like that will do something for us. It is basically hit and hope football, is what it is. And look at a lot of the goals. There's not been anything like team creative wise for a long, long time.
I mean, Zalog, lastly, to kind of wrap the show up, what would be your midfield and forward line going into the game on Saturday?
Okay, so my midfield would be Casemiro, Amrabat and Mount. I'd drop Bruno entirely. I don't think... he needs that fire up his... You know what, to get things moving. And for the front line, I would... I'd try Adams of Anthony, Højlund... Anthony on the left, sorry, Højlund. And then Pellistri. I love Pellistri.
We like that. We like this caller.
Yeah, I mean... I don't understand what Ten Hag not necessarily has against him, but I don't understand why he doesn't rate him, because he's what you'd expect from a winger. Because when you look at Anthony, he does put a shift in, but were we not slating McTominay for just being a passion merchant all this time? Like, we want more from our wingers rather than just cutting inside, shooting and hoping it goes in. And yeah, that'd be my front three in midfield.
I agree.
Interesting stuff, Zalog. Obviously, Adam agrees with you there. The only question I'd have, I really do like Pellistri, but has he done enough in the game time he's had?
I think he's done more than a lot of everyone else.
I do like him. I would not be opposed to it. And I do think you need a run in the team to properly get your foothold.
The thing is with Pellistri is you look at some of his ball retention and what he does with the ball. That's key in these games as well. And he doesn't give up on the ball. He's a battler as well. So we're going to need that, because times like this, like I said before, you need to dig in.
We are. Zalog, thank you so much for calling
Cheers,
up.
buddy.
Hopefully to hear from you again, because you spoke complete truths there, and I'm glad we hung on for the last caller. Someone just put in the chat, Beth, Johnny Evans' pass wasn't hitting hope. That was class. That one was class. But a lot of the times, when we're in and out of the box, we force it though, don't we? We do it a lot of the time.
It was a fantastic ball. I'm not taking that away from Evans, but there was an element of hope that Bruno's technical prowess could come through at that moment and get the goal. And luckily for us, it was the single one good thing we did in that game, and it won us the game. Hope.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed that, Adam. A lot of debates, different opinions.
Yep.
We really
a bit more brutal today. I'm just in that frame of mind.
Adam's
Sorry, guys.
He's just absolutely like, say you get to there, he's here. And I feel that's where everyone is right now.
If it doesn't go right on Saturday, you want to see me then.
Stay tuned for the match vlog, everyone. But seriously, thank you everyone for getting in the discussion, whether you're in the chat or whether you rang up or whether you're waiting to call in as well. We really do appreciate it. This is your show, and we will be continuing doing the call-in shows a little bit more frequently, because you are the community, so you deserve your say, and we love to hear from you. So if you do want to join the Discord, link is in the description, or you can click the scan the barcode that comes up on your screen. Adam, thanks for joining us. Thank you for everyone in the chat. As always, have a lovely rest of your Thursday. 8 PM show will be on later, and we will see you on the next one.